Alrighty, Pretender here, back with another Honkai style guide, and today I'm going to be providing a full build guide on Acheron. As I'm recording this video, Acheron did just come out 2 hours ago, and I've been using her practically the entire time, past my summons. I have tested her on other friends' accounts who do have the optimal relics and such, because I myself don't have the best Acheron right now, and I don't have the right stats, but I am pretty confident after using them all on what I should say the best stats are, and obviously asking other people. So this guide will go over her kit, including Eidolons, her trace priorities, best Lightcones, best Relics, best Ornaments, and also the best main stats and substats. And yeah, before I get to the video, if you guys would drop a like on the video, hit the sub button, turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with other type of Honkai style news, summons, guides, showcases, all that kind of stuff will be on the channel. And let's get straight into the video. So as I did mention, this is going to be a little different from my other videos. I'm going to be having gameplay, but I will pop up what I'm talking about. So Acheron is a lightning nihility character. Her basic attack deals lightning damage equal to 100% of Acheron's attack to a single enemy. Her skill gains 1 point of slash stream, inflicts 1 stack of Crimson Knot on a single target enemy, dealing lightning damage equal to 160% of Acheron's attack to this target, as well as lightning damage equal to 60% of Acheron's attack to adjacent targets. And now moving on to her broken ultimate ability. What her ultimate does is sequentially unleashes Rainblade 3 times and Stygian Research 1 time, dealing lightning damage up to 372% of Acheron's attack to a single target enemy, as well as lightning damage equal to 300% of Acheron's attack to other targets. What Rainblade does is deals lightning damage equal to 24% of Acheron's attack to a single target enemy and removes up to 3 Crimson Knot from the target. When Crimson Knot is removed, immediately deals lightning damage equal to 15% of Acheron's attack to all enemies. For every stack of Crimson Knot removed, the damage multiplier is additionally increased up to a maximum of 60%. And what Stygian Research does is deals lightning damage equal to 120% of Acheron's attack to all enemies and removes all Crimson Knots. Crimson Knot cannot be applied to enemies during the ultimate. For her talent, when Slash Dream reaches 9 points, the ultimate can be activated. During the ultimate, reduces enemies' toughness regardless of weakness types and reduces all enemies' all-type res by 20%, lasting until the end of the ultimate. When any unit inflicts a debuff on an enemy target while using their ability, Acheron gains 1 point of Slash Dream and inflicts 1 stack of Crimson Knot on the target. If debuffs are inflicted on multiple targets, then 1 stack of Crimson Knot will be inflicted on the enemy target with the most Crimson Knot stacks. This effect can only be triggered once for every ability use. After an enemy target exits the field or is defeated by any unit while Acheron is on the field, their Crimson Knot will be transferred to the enemy target with the most Crimson Knot stacks. Pretty much what this does mean is, as you do see from the gameplay, Acheron does not function off regular energy like the other characters in the game. When you do have up to 9 stacks, you will be able to activate her ultimate. And the only way to get stacks from that is by inflicting debuffs. You can only gain 1 per action, or using her skill. Talking about her technique, I will refer to the technique as just a sentence because I don't know how to say the first word. What her technique does is immediately attacks the enemy. At the start of each wave, gains Ascendance, dealing lightning damage to 200% of Acheron's attack to all enemies and reducing toughness of all enemies irrespective of weakness types. When breaking weakness, triggers the lightning weakness break effect. What Ascendance is after using the ultimate, Acheron gains 1 point of Slash Dream and inflicts 1 stack of Crimson Knot on a single random enemy. If attacking a normal enemy, it immediately defeats them without entering combat. When not hitting enemies, no technique points are consumed. What this means is, in Simulated Universe or in the overworld, when you do go up to like a random enemy or something, you can use the technique and instant kill them and gain the rewards. Very big time saver, but obviously this does not work against elite enemies or in Memory of Chaos. Moving on to her bonus traces, what the first one does is when the Rainblade from Acheron's ultimate hits enemy targets with Crimson Knot, her damage increases by 30%, stacking up to 3 times and lasting for 3 turns. And when Stygian Research triggers, additionally deals damage for 6 times. Each time deals lightning damage equal to 25% of Acheron's attack to a single random enemy and is viewed as a part of the ultimate damage. Her second bonus trace, when there are 1 or 2 nihility characters other than Acheron in the team, the damage dealt by Acheron's basic attack, skill, and ultimate increases to 115% or 160% of the original damage respectively. Pretty much what this means is when you do have another character that is part of the nihility path that isn't Acheron, when you do damage with one other nihility character, instead of doing what you do, like 100% of the damage you deal, it would go up to 115%, and with 2, it goes up to 160%. The jump is pretty high, but before you freak out about her restrictedness, there are ways to negate this, which I will cover in a different part, but in theory, pretty much it is the fact that running a Harmony character with her is still going to be better, because the damages they can provide is still better. Her third bonus ability, when the battle starts, immediately gains 5 points of Slash Dream and applies 5 stacks of Crimson Knot to random enemies. So when you do start the battle, you do gain 5 points of Slash Dream, so you only need 4 more charges for her ultimate. And you also do apply 5 stacks of Crimson Knot to a random enemy. When Slash Dream reaches its upper limit, for every point of Slash Dream that exceeds the limit, gains 1 stack of Ascendance, enables Ascendance to stack up to 3 times. What that means is, when you do have 9 points and you're able to unleash your ultimate, you don't have to use it because other debuffs will be waste. Pretty much when you do gain a debuff or you apply a debuff after having that stacks, you pretty much gain an overcap that goes up to 12. So you can get 3 more stacks this way that you can also view by holding her and viewing the details. So do not be pressured to use her ultimate right away, you still can wait before using it. And what it does is the overcap will apply to after you ult. So let's say you have the ability to use the ultimate, you apply 3 more debuffs, so you have 12. When you do ult, you will start off with 3. Now talking about her Eidolons, her first Eidolon, when dealing damage to debuff enemies, increases the crit rate by 18%. This is really good because you get a free 18% crit rate pretty much, because running her with other Nehoti characters practically means the enemy is always debuffed. Her second Eidolon, the number of Nehoti characters for the trace the Abyss to achieve its highest possible effect is reduced by 1. When this unit's turn starts, it gains 1 point of slash damage and inflicts 1 stack of Crimson Knot on the enemy with the most Crimson Knot stacks. What this does mean is when you do have E2, pretty much as you do remember from the trace the Abyss, instead of needing 2 Nehoti characters to get the 160% of original damage, you only need 1. So when you have 1 other Nehoti character, you get the full 160% original damage bonus. It also does make it so anytime Acheron's turn is up, she will gain 1 charge for her ultimate and will inflict 1 stack of Crimson Knot on the enemy with the most Crimson Knot stacks. For fourth Eidolon, when enemy targets enter combat, inflicts them with ultimate damage vulnerability, increasing the amount of damage they take from the ultimate by 8%. As it does say, pretty much going into the battle, they will just take increased damage from ultimates. And her final Eidolon, which makes her very future-proof, increases the all-type res pen for the ultimate damage dealt by Acheron by 20%. The damage dealt by basic attack and skill will also be considered ultimate damage and can reduce enemy toughness regardless of weakness types. So now it is not her ultimate that just gains the buff from that. Now her basic attack and skill are considered ultimate damage, so she can do it with them too. When breaking weaknesses, trigger the lightning weakness break effect. And so that is the entire kit for Acheron. Now let's go over the trace priority. For starters, you do want to start getting her ultimate up the highest because this is what gives the most damage. As you do see, there's a bunch of stuff you can do. So first, you want to start with this. After the ultimate, the skill or talent, whatever you choose doesn't matter, because the skill, you can't cut it for slack for not being a main part of the ultimate. This skill does still do a lot of damage, so don't sleep on the skill, but the talent does increase the all-type res pen you do get from the ultimate. So both of this will tie together. For a personal recommendation, I would go for the ultimate, or I would at least get them up equally. And for the final one, you can focus on basic attack just because her basic attack isn't really important. Unless you have a signature Lightcone, just making her a bit more skill point positive to do some more damage, I guess. Now moving on to her best Lightcones. Her best Lightcone will be obviously her own signature Lightcone because of everything it provides and the ability it gives. Pretty much what it does is increases the wearer's crit damage by 36%. When the wearer hits an enemy target, it inflicts a Mirage Fizzle on the enemy lasting for 1 turn. Each time the wearer attacks, this effect can only trigger 1 time on each target. The wearer deals 24% increased damage to targets afflicted with Mirage Fizzle, and the damage dealt by the wearer's ultimate just increases by 24%. This one is sadly infinitely better than every other option that will be listed, just because of everything it provides. All the way from the crit damage stat stick to getting a lot of increased damage, even more with the ultimate, but another main reason is the fact that you can inflict the debuff. Acheron herself cannot inflict the debuff outside of her ultimate, but with this Lightcone, now her skill and basic attack can. So if you do attack someone that isn't inflicted with Mirage Fizzle with the skill, as you do remember, you gain 1 from that, but when you inflict the debuff, you gain 2 with this one. And with the basic attack, now can also inflict a debuff, also giving you a charge for the ultimate. This also does significantly impact rotations, so it's just a very good Lightcone and it's easily the best one. Past that, the differences between the Lightcones you do choose for the next two are relatively the same. The next two options I will talk about is Signature's Lightcone for Silverwolf and also a S5 Good Night and Sleep Well. Pretty much both of these are the second best option for her currently. Going over what Silverwolf 1 does, what it does is increase the wearer's effect hit rate by 24%, which she does not need sadly. When the wearer deals damage to an enemy with 3 or more debuffs, which on her team is very easy, increases crit rate by 12%, which I guess is also really good, just because she doesn't really give herself crit rate besides the E1. After the wearer uses their basic attack skill or ultimate, there's a 100% base chance to implant Aether Code on a random target that does not have it. Targets with Aether Code will receive 12% increased damage for 1 turn, so this also does help for when running her with other Nehoti characters. So you also increase their damage because the Nehoti debuffers you do run can do damage. Silverwolf, Welt, Gwynifen, all those kind of characters, they can do really good damage, so it does also directly benefit them. And for Good Night and Sleep Well, what it does is for every debuff the target enemy has, the damage dealt by the wearer increases by 12%, stacking up to 3 times, and also applies a dot. And at R5, it does become 24%. Both of these are really good options if you don't have your signature one. Again, the first one being Signature's Lightcone for a Silverwolf. It also does give you the option to apply a debuff, so this is another Lightcone that can help apply a debuff. It doesn't help Acheron too much directly, but it is still another really good option, especially being able to inflict its own debuff. And as for Good Night and Sleep Well at S5, it's going to be the best option that besides her Lightcone, just because it doesn't apply a debuff, but you also do get a big damage dealt increase. especially stacking up to 3 times, giving you up to 72% damage increase, which is really good. Sadly, it does not affect the debuff as I mentioned, but it is still another option. Now moving on to her best relics, the best relic set you can run for her will be the full piece Pioneer Diver of Dead Waters, which I will refer to as the debuff set. The 2-piece increases damage dealt to enemies with debuff by 12%, and the 4-piece increases crit rate by 4%. The wearer deals 8%/12% increased crit damage to enemies with at least 2 or 3 debuffs. After the wearer inflicts a debuff on enemy targets, the aforementioned effects increase by 100% lasting for 1 turn. What this does mean is when they have 2 debuffs, you will deal 8% more crit damage, and when you do deal damage to someone with 3 or more debuffs, you will do 12% increased damage. And when you do debuff them, the aforementioned effects increase, and her ultimate does indeed proc that, and if you do have a signature Lightcone, that's another thing that does proc it as well. Followed by that, another thing you can do is rocking 2-piece of the Lightning set and Musketeers. 2-piece for the Lightning set increases lightning damage by 10%, and the 2-piece for Musketeers increases attack by 12%. These two together are obviously nowhere near as good as the Pioneers, but it is another good option you can do. I would recommend to, as best as you can, go for Pioneers just because it is such a good set, especially for her and how easy it is to keep uptime because you are running her on a debuff based team. But if you do not have the pieces and you do have enough to do a Lightning 2-piece and a 2-piece Musketeers, that is another good option. Moving on to her best planet ornaments, overall the best planet ornament you can run her is the new Izumo set. What it does is increases the wearer's attack by 12%. When entering battle, if there's at least one other ally that follows the same path as the wearer, then the wearer's crit rate increases by 12%. This is really good on her just for the fact, again, she doesn't really get much crit rate besides if you are running like Pioneers. And so for the most part, you will want more crit rate, and this one does allow for that. Especially for the fact that you will always practically be having one other Nihility character on the team. No matter what team comp you're running, you will have one other Nihility character. So you do get the 12% pretty easily. And Acheron does benefit a lot from attack percent because she gives herself a lot of everything else, damage dealt, lightning, all that kind of stuff. So attack percent is also very nice. Followed by that, next good one you can do, which will be equally as good as the third one, is Internet Salsado. Internet Salsado increases the wearer's crit rate by 8%. When the wearer's current crit rate reaches 50% or higher, then the wearer's ultimate and follow-up damage increases by 15%. This one's a really nice one just because it does increase the ultimate follow-up, just pretty much just giving her damage output, and then also 50% or higher crit rate is very easy to get, and also giving her 8% crit rate is nice. Another option is the Space Ceiling Station. As I did mention, attack percent is really good for her. What it does is increase the wearer's attack by 12%. When the wearer's speed reaches 120 or higher, the wearer's attack increases by an extra 12%. Overall, this is just as good because I did again mention that attack percent is very good on her, and 120 speed or higher is very easy to achieve. Moving on to the main stats for what you want on your relics. For the body, you will be wanting to rock crit rate or crit damage depending on which one you need more. For the feet, attack percent is better, but you can also do speed. For the Planisphere, is going to be attack percent. It is just better just because she gives herself enough lightning damage and damage dealt and all that kind of stuff. So overall, you really do not need lightning damage on her. And for the link rope, you also want attack percent. For the substats, mainly prioritizing on speed will be nice, especially if you don't have another Harmony character such as Sparkle or Bronya. Just having a speed up to breakpoint will be really good. Followed by that, crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, all that kind of stuff will be really good. Crit rate, obviously, it will be mostly preferred because she already has a bunch of crit damage just from what she can do or what she can get. So getting crit rate mainly as a priority will be really good. And then again, crit damage just from our damage will be nice. And then as I mentioned, attack percent is still really good on her, so getting rolls on that is also very nice. Now, finally moving on to the team building portion of this video. This does depend on your preferences, what you want to do, if you have E2 or not. Pretty much, I'm going to give you some ideas of what to run. So a very good partner with Acheron will be Silverwolf. She will practically be one of, if not the best option you can run. And if you want to do the double Nihility, you can also put someone like Pela. Pela is also a fantastic option, and the last slot will be a sustain of your choice. Mainly would be someone like Fushman. You can also use the Universal Market build, which I do have a video on that you can check out if you do want to do that. Another option you can do is just rock one Nihility character with a Harmony support, so you can rock someone like Sparkle, Bronya, even Runmei. All three of these are really good. And then again, the last slot would be the sustain for that thing, which can be Universal Market. Pretty much that does apply to also if you're doing E2, because obviously if you're doing E2, you do not need two Nihility characters, so you can just rock one or the other. Another very good option would be Welt, so you could rock something like Welt and Silverwolf, or Welt and Pela. Black Swan is also another option you can do thanks to her AoE defense lower, which also does directly benefit Acheron's damage. And so main units you'd want to run with Acheron would be Silverwolf, Pela, Black Swan's fantastic. Another very fantastic option is Gwenaifen. But the sustains, you'd mainly want to be doing Preservation, Universal Market or not. Bushwan will be the best option you have right now. If you're doing Universal Market, what will be better would be Jeopard or the Fire Trailblazer. You can also run a healer, that's fine too. You can just rock someone like Luocha or Huohuo if you have her. Huohuo's energy apply will not help her sadly, but giving her the attack percent, all that stuff very good. Gallagher, the new 4-star, is also another solid option you can use, although his healing is on the lower side, so be careful when you are running him. And besides that, then you can get pretty creative with it. Again, you can rock something like Silverwolf, Black Swan, Sustain, Silverwolf, Pela, Sustain, Universal Market, Jeopard, Universal Market, Fire Trailblazer, all this stuff. You do have a ton of options you can play around, as long as you do have at least one other Nehoti character, no matter if you're E0 or E2. And so that is the full build guide on Acheron. Let me know how much you guys are enjoying Acheron. Personally, I've used it a good amount, and I'm honestly very satisfied. I am glad she isn't held back by the restrictions as much as we originally thought. She's still fantastic without getting the full bonuses. And so definitely let me know what you guys think. Definitely let me know what you guys are running and all that kind of stuff. I hope you guys found this guide helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.